Need?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I got it. If I need anything else, I'll get it myself.
Okay. We got nobody on yet. Let some more people hop on here before we get going. What's up, everybody? Episode Quattro. We got Emma in the house.
Hey.
We are beat.
Yep, Carden Day.
What's up, Cody, Anthony, Peter? Christopher Best is watching. What's up, Boston?
Long day of courting today.
Give me another minute, get some more people on here. We're going to flip this thing around and show you guys how to wire up an R1 speed control. Damn, what do you say? Wait. Check the team chat later. What are you guys doing right now? Just tell me. I can't. What's up, Tim Smith? Get a couple more people on here. All right, let's readjust here. That is not high. There we go. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of Shark Frenzy. Tonight we're going to do a little soldering stuff for you. Let me give some shouts out first. I'm going to give a huge shout out to Paul Peterson. Shark Bodies. If you haven't tried a shark body, maybe try and jump in the water. You can get the spoilers and the fire spoilers and all the bodies you can check out what bodies we have on sharkrcbodies.com or Shark RC Bodies on Facebook page. If you like what you see there and you want to give it a try, you can go ahead and reach out to Paul Peterson. I want to give a huge shout out to Steve Villanueva of R1 Wurks. He's a guy that's helped me out a lot. That's why we're kind of doing a little bit of an R1 thing here tonight. I want to give a huge shout out to Mark Vine, and I want to give a huge shout out to the Bullet Experience Facebook page. The car I'm running, the car that a lot of the guys that have a craze right now is going on, is either the Losi or the Associated. Kind of got something for both guys. And if you want to know more about these cars that we're running, go out and check out the Bullet Experience page. It's pretty cool. There's actually a lot of cool chassis and stuff out on the market. I think the market's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's started to pick up steam even more than it has in the past in the last couple months. I know Carbon came in from Mark Vine this week, so you guys will see just an aptitude of chassis available on the eBay page. So go check it out. I want to give a huge shout out to Milo Carvalho of Flashpacks Cat Packs. If you don't have a cat pack, you've had a cat pack in the past and it failed you, or if you don't know what they are and you want to know a little bit more about them, get a hold of Milo Carvalho and check out a flashpack. So we also got one of those here tonight. So I want to do a little bit of soldering tonight, and you're going to have to bear with me. I'm going to have to manually, put the camera down. I got a little workstation here. Got another body in that I had painted. This one was from Mark Samuelson. As you can see, she's a pretty bad little girl here. So he's cranking me out some nice shark stuff. Yeah, I really, really dig this paint job, so we'll set that over here for now. So let's see. So basically, this is going to be one of those ones where I don't have somebody that is here to film for me, so I'm going to narrate verbally while you watch my hands work. So let's go ahead and move this down. And I'll show you some of the stuff we got. So some of the stuff that I use when I'm soldering, it's always good to have 1 or 2 sets of needle nose pliers on hand. Let's come up just a little bit with that. Can you guys see me, hear me, everything? I don't know if Tim's still on here. What's up, Tim Smith? And give a shout out to Tyler Zavadil, who's putting on the Vegas race. Everybody in the 707, everybody at Lake County, everybody at Jake's Performance Hobbies, Rohnert Park, California, 707-586-3375. Again, that's 707-586-3375 for all your drag race needs locally here. Or if you guys live in an area where you can't find something, you can give Jake a call and the boys will send whatever you need out to you to lower 48. A couple things that I use here. I got 2 sets of needle nose pliers. I got just regular needle nose pliers, and I got some really tiny ones. And how you can tell how good your needle nose pliers are is if you hold them up in the light and look at the tip. You can see if the tip is still spread and it's hitting somewhere else. You can always take the tips and bend them in a little bit. These ones are pretty dialed in, and that's a pretty common household thing. Another thing that I'm going to use is I like to get a nice hard cut on wires rather than having to saw through them with something smaller, so I use a pretty good size dike. These dikes I've actually had using an RC. They're beat up, they're ugly, but you know what? She's like Old Faithful. I've had this set of dikes since I was 12 years old. They're an old channel lock set of dikes, and it's a good thing to have. I'm also going to be installing a flashpack cap pack tonight onto the R1. We're also going to use an X-Acto knife for peeling shrink wrap, factory shrink wrap off. Now another thing that I got here tonight, let's see if I can get over the top, is I use a track power. Let's see if we can actually even turn it on. Now I have the chip in this thing, so it'll go up to 850. A lot of people, I've seen them, after a while, after 10 or 15 times using their soldering iron, the tip starts getting bent over to one side, and and a lot of that can have to do with heat fatigue, heating up and cooling down, heating up and cooling down. But you got to remember, guys, if you're having to press hard on your soldering iron to get it to melt, then your soldering iron has either got a loose tip, or it's dirty, or the unit itself is just not getting hot enough. All I should have to do is take one of the little, see if you can see it, the little flat edges on my soldering iron and just touch, and it should melt the solder. So this is a good unit. I can't remember. You can reach out to Jake at Jake's Performance Hobbies. I think these are about $100, and you buy one of these and you never look back. So this thing will hit it has a regulator. I can turn it down to about 350. I can turn it all the way up to 850. So we're gonna go full balls out 850 tonight. I want to just do this nice and clean and hot. So the iron I'm using is just their stock iron. I like the flat blade style. There is a time for a needle tip, but I'm not using a needle tip tonight. You can probably see it a little bit better now, I don't think. Hold on a minute. This is just a flat blade. Okay. Now these always come with a sponge. The reason is you're going to get you're going to get burnt resin core build up on the tip of this thing. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, after a solder joint, you're going to want to just clean the tip off. So you want to get your sponge nice and wet, and after you get it wet, just wring it out and put it right in there. And it's there for your using. I can also double this to cool stuff down. I don't recommend doing that on directly on solder, but if you have something that get a little bit hotter, you can rest this on it, and it has a little bit of cool to it, and you'll hear it sizzle. There might be a time or two where I start getting the ESC warm, and you'll see me run it in and put it into the freezer for a minute or two just to kind of cool it down. I kind of like to take my time so that I know that I'm not adding excess heat to the board of the speed control, thus possibly causing a problem with it. We don't want to do that. So what I'm using to light tonight is about the best I got. This is a Sky RC light that is, I can change the colors on it. I can change, all kinds of different stuff. I can dim it, and it runs off my power supply that I use for road racing. So we'll see how this works. Another thing I'm using, which is one of my best friends, especially when I'm doing an ESC, is one of these quick clamps. So I leave the fan on the ESC off until I'm all done. It's the last thing I put on. And while I'm, soldering the speed control, sometimes I got to tug on a wire a little bit, and I don't want the unit to move, especially when I'm soldering it back together. So I use a quick clamp, and you'll see how this gets used here in a minute. Now, maybe some of you guys think, oh, I don't need that, but I'm telling you, even guys that, like I've always had with 18/16 vision, it's always good to inspect your joints. Not only so that your joints aren't touching, but you also want to make sure that nothing bubbled out behind the joint and is touching the metal case of the speed control. So you can have two solder joints on the ESC board that are right next to each other, and they look perfect, and you didn't see in the darkness behind that it had a little bit of dribble that came out, and it's touching the side of the ESC. That can cause a short. That'll void your warranty. So, there's been a lot of people kind of getting ticked off at the fact that the R1 dropped the fact that there is no warranty on drag racing stuff. You guys got to remember that it's not just R1 that never intended this. I mean, you got to think, when this speed control first was designed by Steve Villanueva and his engineers, this was designed just like Tekin speed controls and like Castle speed controls, and especially Hobby Wing speed controls. And the fact that they weren't really designing them around drag racing. And Steve's a smaller company, and drag racing is so hard on stuff that and aside from drag racing, you got guys sending them in that have just not paid attention and made a mistake like we all have, and plugged them in wrong and popped them and said, dude, this thing's brand new. And then they get mad at Steve because Steve opens it up and he's the engineer and he knows exactly what he's looking at, and he can tell what happened inside the ESC, and he's like, I'm sorry, you plugged this in backward. That's like buying a brand new 2021 F-150 and bringing it down and filling it up with diesel fuel. You're going to have to pay, even though it's still under warranty. You're going to have to pay because that was your mistake. So it's just like that. They have warranties on this stuff. Steve's warranty process with the R1 speed control is second to none. Jesus. So anyway, Steve's warranty process is second to none, and this ESC under normal conditions is still warrantyable, unless you're dropping massive amounts of voltage and timing through the thing, and you burn it out because you push it too far, then it's probably not going to be warranted. And as far as how legit these speed controls are, when I said that I left Hobby Wing a year ago and I ended up getting an R1 and getting into the R1 stuff, this is my original R1. This is the first one that was in the Ghost, or not the Ghost. No, because I had the Gunslinger. So this is the first one that I had on the Gunslinger. I thought I had a problem with it. I sent it back to Steve 6 months ago. He said, dude, you had your LiPo on. And I had no idea how I had clicked it on, but it was just the auto LiPo voltage dealy bob in the tuner that I had on. So it was running great, and at the big end it would just shut down, and I'm like, dude, I got it off, everything's fine, I've done this 100 times, and sure as heck I had clicked it on and it wasn't disabled, so it's still perfect. That's what's in my Vegas car. So what I have for you tonight is I have a brand new R1. So let's get into stripping this. Let's see if I can move this in a little bit more. Okay. A little bit more up. I think that's pretty good. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the shrink wrap off. Now, doing this to an ESC doesn't necessarily void it. You know, racers do this all the time. As you can see in my other R1, you know, I have red 10 gauge on it, and that doesn't void the warranty. What I'm doing with it in the car might void the warranty. The fact that I'm pushing a lot of timing with a lot of voltage, and that's always recipe for disaster. So this is where I'm going to use the quick clamp. What I'm going to do, let's get these wires out of the way here. I'm going to let the clamp sit on the table flat, and I'm going to clamp the speed control with it. Now see, I got a nice thing to work with. So solder that you want to use this angel hair solder, like angel hair pasta. That's what I call it. It's a 60-40 mix. It's a rosin core, which means it has flux already in it. You don't want to use anything much bigger than this unless you're doing huge joints like on 8 scale or quarter scale electric motors or stuff like that. This is all you should need, and you always want to stick with 60-40. It flows the nicest, it makes a really good contact, and it's really easy to manage when it comes to soldering. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to strip everything off the board. Oh, you know what I want to do though? Just because of the wonderful things he does. No. So right next to the board is the port for, does it matter to have different length wires from the ESC to the motor? No. If you have your, like in some of my road race cars, my wires are only like an inch long because the motor's right next to the ESC. Always in any kind of electrical circuit, even in a real car or a house, even in 110 and alternating current, the shorter the wires are, the less resistance there is for the electricity's path to flow. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cover the port for the sensor. I want to cover that just in case, you know, I'm right here with a lot of solder and stuff, and we just don't want to even go there. So you know what, Emma, will you do me a favor? Okay, baby, you can't sit there because you're blocking. I need to go get my glasses. Can you go get my glasses for me, please?
Yeah.
You can put that down on the... Thank you. So we can start. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I got a clean tip. I got a tight tip. I'm up at 850. I got the right solder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tin my tip. And tinning just kind of says, hey, man, I'm coming through here. I'm going to do some soldering. Okay? And...
What do you know? The glasses you're wearing today?
No, my reading glasses.
Oh. Okay.
This is
Here you go.
hold on a sec. Pretty good solder. It does not want to come off.
There's your glasses beside you. Okay.
Let me put my glasses on so I can actually see. Oh, there we go. Now what I'm doing is I am just pulling off the cap pack right now. On an R1 speed control, you don't want to hit the solder joints on the bottom because those aren't the wires there. What those are is the posts soldered onto the board. So I'm going to take this little cap pack off. And I'm going to double check. Looks pretty good. So now, always constantly, yes, you see she's already getting warm. So let me just kind of cool it down a little bit. I like to keep it cool. Okay, much better. So I'm just going to start on one side. And you don't have, see, it came right off. You don't have to pull. Next one off. Sometimes a little solder kind of gets the party started in there. Let's clean that tip. Now I got some shrink wrap in the way here. So let's take that shrink wrap and just yank it out of there. Now we're trying to come in with a hot iron so that we're just as swift and fast as possible. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cool this thing down again. She's getting warm. Yeah, she's getting pretty warm. So this is what you're left with now. You're left with an R1 speed control that absolutely has no wires on it. Okay. Now what you can actually do here is, if you forget which one is which, always know that the middle and the two outer ones are always the wire motor, or the motor wires. And the second and third one, no matter which way you count, is going to be your battery ones. Now your battery inputs, you want to make sure you get the polarity correct if you use black and white, or black and red, which is what I'm going to do here. This ESC is probably going to have all of one color wire, and then the off wire that it isn't will be on the polarity, and I'll show you that in a minute. What I mean by that is, let's see, here's some 10 gauge. Let's get all this R1 wiring. We're not going to use any of that. It's still really good wire. R1 uses really good quality stuff. Here's some red. I got more red somewhere. Oh, yeah, let me grab my other wire. Thought I had everything ready to rock. Evidently, I was wrong. Here we are. Okay. A lot of good companies make a lot of good stuff. We can get into this some other time. You can buy these for about $4. So instead of wrapping your servo cables up in a big bunchful of wire, you can actually cut them and add a new lead on the end. So you don't have solder joints and shrink wrap in the middle of your servo wire, but you can shorten it just to what you need. But there's a lot of good wire companies out there. ProTech's one of them. ProTech makes a lot. If you're ever looking for some high racy stuff, ProTech makes good stuff. So we got some ProTech red, and we got some Rude Dog black. Rude Dog makes a lot of cool stuff. I run their pinions. Their pinions are awesome. So let's get rid of that. Speed control is pretty cool. So the first thing we're gonna do is figure out how to open this son of a gun. There's no split. So we're going to just kind of wire the motor wires generic in this, meaning that they're all going to just be run long. So here's black. And here's red. You know what I think we're going to do? I think we're going to do all red wire except for the black on the battery. So, and we can just use that. I didn't even have to open that up. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, hey Emma, can you bring me that that metal looking thing up there with the magnifying glass on it. This is another cool thing. They're about 10 or 12 bucks at an electronics store. We have one down in San Rafael. You can get them online, yeah. And it really, really helps to have a third hand.
What is this for?
I'm going to show you. I'm actually going to show everybody. And it's one of these guys. I call it my my little soldering robot.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
Okay. And I'm going to tighten it up and just make sure she's good to go. Okay, I'm not going to use...
No, it's a she now.
Yeah. Did you just burp?
Yeah.
Okay, so the way I'm cutting wire is I'm going to pick off with my razor blade and put a line right where I want to cut it. And then I'm just going to slowly, you don't want to push down hard because you'll be cutting into the braids, and roll the wire while you're sawing on it until your line matches, and then you just scoot it off and boom, it's perfect. Now if I can do that on all my wires and have it look the same, that will make it look really nice when it's all done. So we got about 3/16 of an inch there. So we're going to start sawing again really lightly. We don't want to cut any braids. Boom. There's another one. Okay. Now we need a couple more pieces. We're going to do the motor wires. We'll do them about this long. So now I'm going to cut 3 even pieces. Bring it out. 3 even pieces. So let's get rid of that. Now when you cut them, sometimes it gets smashed down like that, okay? So what I do is I just kind of squeeze it and just kind of roll it out and then give it a twist. Hold the wire and give it a twist, and that kind of brings it back into a perfect shape. So I'm going to do that to all of these. Remember, at the end of this video, guys, we're doing the raffle for the body. Oh no, we're gonna have to do it after the video because what?
The heater. There's a metal there. Look, it melted. Metal.
That's okay. So let's cut all these ones at the same amount. Oh, I missed a little bit of that one. So that one's perfect. They're all looking the same there. Peel it off. Come on, Dan. Oh, same thing, didn't cut all the way around. So these are just actually turning out perfect. Let's just cut this one a little further this time. Okay, you can bend it, open it up, slide it off. It's perfect. Now, the reason why I brought this guy out here is I'm not just going to put this wire on the ESC and solder it like that. I'm going to put solder on here first, and then a new little bit of batch of solder on the ESC. And what that's going to do is when I'm finally ready to solder it, the soldering iron will just touch on here, and the solder that's on here already and on the ESC will just mold together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to make sure that the solder starts sinking into the wire, not just laying on top. And if you get some drop off, that's okay. Not going to hurt anything. Okay, so that solder joint is perfect. I'll set that aside. We'll go to the next one. This is what I meant by it's kind of repetitious. You got to do this a bunch of times. Soldering work is just like paint work or welding work. You know, it's 90% setup and it's 10% work. So when I'm welding, It's 90% layout and 10% welding. Or if a painter is painting, it's 90% setup and 10% painting. A little bit too much on that. I want a little bit more solder on that one. You know, remember guys that this can be dangerous. This thing will burn you if you're a newbie. Always be cautious that you never leave a soldering iron unattended, just like a LiPo battery. And no, see, I don't know if you can see that or not, but the solder's all the way in that, and then there's one little corner that's open, and I didn't sink in there. And I don't want that. I want nice solder application throughout the... You basically want to make penetration into the wire with the solder. Okay. One more. Can I get more light over here? That's even better, right? And another thing I was going to talk about safety is this smoke, guys. There's lead in this smoke, so try not to breathe it. You'll notice me going when I'm and blowing while I'm soldering. It's to get all that smoke away from me, you know. Unfortunately, after smoking for 25 years and 25 years of welding, I'm probably going to die of black lung at 60. But I don't smoke. I haven't for 4 years, and I only weld something when it's really crucial down in Nevada. Now I'm not on a stock car team welding every day. So the most hazardous thing I probably do is probably the lead smoke in this solder. So okay, so now that we got all our wires ready, okay, we got all the joining wires to the speed control, you know, cut at the same length and completely saturated all the way around. Very nicely. I had nice penetration with the solder, and it's actually a little bit more than I need on each one to make it a little bubbly end. And what that'll do is that'll be when I touch them together and it does melt, it'll go whomp into the actual terminal or post that's on the ESC. So let's bring the ESC back. And now what I'm going to do with the ESC is I'm going to go down each one and add a little bit of my solder. There's going to be a little bit of foreign contact due to the fact that metallurgically this solder and the solder they use is a little differently, and I want that to happen between my soldering iron and my solder right now to change it into my solder, and not in between my wire and my joint and have it do it and actually be the joint. I don't know if that makes sense, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down, and there's a little solder on all these, but we're just going to do a little bit and just kind of fill up the trough a little bit with my solder. Okay, now, what's really, really important is, I don't know about the Tekin or other ESCs. I think an XR10 Pro is, but I don't know. I think the XR10 Pro's board is set up a little different. But in R1, there's a gap. Let's see if I can show you guys. See that gap right here between the terminals I'm soldering on in the actual body of the ESC? You don't want those to make a contact. So when you're all done, I use something like this, and I go back in and I look really close under the light, and I inspect and make sure my soldering joints are good, they're tight, I got good flow, and I don't have nothing touching. So, let's see, I believe it's the left one. Yeah, so the second one here is the black for the battery. So, the first thing we're going to do, where's the wrong one? Is I'm going to clean my soldering tip. All wrapped up here. And sometimes what I like to do is hold this on there, get it hot, bring this into it, heat it up. There we go, baby. There we go, get it. Okay. That was a really good joint. Let's clean that down. Or cool it down. You don't want to cool it while it's wet. You'll put impurities in the solder. Let's go to the next one. I'm going to get her a little warm. Just say, hey girl, I'm coming through. And then I'm going to hold this on there. I'm going to let it melt down. Beautiful solder job. Next one. Oh, I put the wrong red one on there. That's okay. I'm going to heat that terminal up. Say, hey dude, I'm coming through, bro. So good. Get it mounted. You know, anybody can think whatever they want about Steve's recent R1 release about the warranty. I stand with R1. I know that R1 has a great product. You know what? I want a little bit more solder on that one. I don't like the way that corner looks. Okay, so she's probably getting pretty warm. So let's cool her down. All the wires are on. I actually went a little fast with that. It's actually pretty cool on this nice slab. Let's just kind of cool it down for a minute. And out of camera, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to inspect that ESC. Let's see if I can show you here. I'm going to look at all those right there, and I'm going to make sure that they're just freaking perfect, that they're not coming back apart. So let me look at this real quick. First one's good. Yeah, these turned out killer, dude. And remember, always look down the back. Make sure you didn't have a bubble of solder. Now let's see if I can show you. So I did all those solder joints, and as you can see, you can look down that little groove and there's nothing touching in there. And that's what I want. As you can see, that turned out really nice. Now I'm going to shrink wrap that, and I'm going to put a flash pack on it, and it's going to look really nice when it's done. So actually, this thing's pretty warm. Yeah, this thing's pretty warm. Let's give this a minute to cool down. You know, these ESCs, I think the reason why they make them is because, like I said, no ESCs were really at first made for drag racing, and this just happened to have a really good amp rating on it, and that's, you know, that with the tunability of the ESC, I think is really what makes it second to none. You know, there's a couple out there that are really good. You know, I know Tekin's fooling with some stuff, and we got this McLaren stuff out now that Tim's running, and I think it's really cool. You know, so I've always been R1, except for when I was hobby wing, and hobby wing just didn't handle enough for me anymore, so I had to go to the R1. Hold on a sec. Let's put something heavy on that. Just let it cool down for a minute. What I race in my spare time is this bad boy here. This one's wired by my homie Matt Kidd. Matt, if you're watching, you're a freaking gangster. So, as you can see, this thing has no real estate. And it has an XR10 Pro in it. It does really good. Soon, the Phantom's coming out of it. The XR10 Pro is coming out of it. It's going to go all R1. But this is my road race car. It's got a big Phantom fan on it. It's got a bunch of fans. This right here is my transponder for racing, my Savox. So the guy was asking, does it matter how long or short the motor wires are? No. You see how short these are? I mean, it's not even half of my finger long. So it's just less steel braid for the electricity to go through. So it's actually the shorter the wires, the more efficient a vehicle is. Never run big gobs of wire. If you're soldering the end on something and you have a 6-inch wire and you can get away with a 4, and you don't want to make it super tight. You want a little kind of a little bit of slack in a wire, but you don't need to have a huge thing of slack in wire. That's just excess resistance is all that is. So this thing's getting pretty cool now. So let's put it back in the clamp. And what we're going to do, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. So we're going to set it aside for a minute. I'm going to take this flash pack and I'm going to do the same thing with these wires. So I just want a little over an 1/8 inch, like 3/16 of an inch of wire showing. Yep, I got a little bit there. Just slice that off. Same thing on the black wire. These are some new UF ratings that Flashpack has. Now I cut that a little too long, so I'm going to trim the. So now I'm going to bring the robot back. Same thing, I'm going to tin these guys. Because now what I just did from the wire to the terminal on the ESC board, I'm going to do from the wire to the wire. And soldering takes some time to master. If you watch this and you're a newbie and the first time doesn't turn out just like this, try again, man. I mean, it's just like anything else in the world. It's practice makes perfect, A lot of us, Mark Vine and Kelly Rhea and Tim Smiths, and we're old school veterans in this, and we've been doing this for a long time, so it kind of comes second nature, This is actually really dirty. How you doing, kiddo? Emma?
Huh?
You okay?
Yeah.
Just kind of get... Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder that to that and that to that, and I'm going to have a flash pack on there. Ooh, that's warm. So I actually want a little bit more solder on these, so let me put a little bit more solder on these. Starting to melt on there. Whew, that's hot. I'm going to inspect it, make sure that it's not just sitting on top. That made a good joint. Now, I'm going to have to use these guys. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is to finish that process up, I'm going to take some shrink wrap. Emma, can you give me a pair of scissors? Right there, those white ones. I thought I had them over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 3, let's trim this one up, 3 equal lengths. Then I'm going to take the 3 motor wires and I'm going to slip these down over right to the board. Alright. As you can see, they're going down and they're covering. Exposed wires don't hurt anything. You just don't want anything possible to happen. So as you can see there, I have covered, exposed, covered, exposed, covered, exposed. And that's about all I can do. I could put a bigger piece that would cover this too, but then what would shrink around these 2 wires wouldn't shrink down enough to be as tight as these are going to do around the wire. So let me go grab a heating orifice. I have a nice heat gun, but I don't have it, so I'm just going to, you never want to touch the flame on it, you just kind of want to use the heat. And I'm going to shrink those up really nice. On the back side. Now we can take this tape off as we're done with it. And now you have a complete unit. So, as you can see, it's nice and safe. Yeah, there is, Cody, going from the stock R1 wiring to the thicker wiring. If you or a buddy can do it properly, I suggest doing it for more current to travel through it. And for road racing cars, 17.5, 10.5, 13.5, stuff like that, it really doesn't matter because you're really not pumping that voltage through it. But I mean, this is a huge difference here between these 2 pieces of wire. I mean, there's a lot more metal in this 10 gauge wire here that really helps the electricity just flow to its destination. So that's pretty much it. What I'm going to do is these 3 will be my motor wires, and those could be wired, really nicely off to one side. You just do them one at a time and make them nice and flow nice and easy. And then I'll take these. I used to run the direct inboards. With my new battery setup, I can't do that because they're soft packs. So I've been running the EC5s. I went back to the EC5s for a bigger connector that'll do 200 amps plus. I've never had a problem with these connectors. Plus, I think they look better blue than the yellows do. I don't know, it's just me, but I know the yellow connectors. I think they're I forget the name of them, but I know they're just as good. You know, if you're using a hard pack like an R1 pack or a Phantom pack or whatever, I suggest getting these kind of bullets. Let's see if I can show you a little bit better. And these are the ones that are solid and just have the slit, making them an X in the end. And those are really good. I think these are made. These ones here are made by. I think these are either R1 or Red Dog. Red Dog makes them too. A lot of people make them. There are all kinds of companies out there. So what I'll do for this ESC is I'll shorten these to exactly where I need them. Like I said, shorter. The shorter you can get them, the better. I'll cut the wire again, and I'll add my E-flights, my EC5s to it. And this R1, other than about 10 minutes of tuning, I'll drop a tune in it, and it will sit in a box and be ready for race day. So this is a backup ESC that I bought. It's a brand new ESC, and I got it when they were not available through a friend of mine, and I paid him damn near full price what they're going for now, just to get a brand new one to show you guys tonight how to strip one and put bigger wires on it. But as you can see, it's really not that complicated. So, and as you can see, that it just turned out really nice. And if you just take your time and use the tips I've used here tonight. Yeah, I wanted to get into another tech video. I think that it's long overdue that we get back to tech rather than just talking about stuff, because that only goes so far. I like to show people what's going on and how to do things, because there are a lot of newbie people out there that get into it every week, and those are the guys we don't want to discourage. Oh man, you mean I got to solder that thing together too? I don't have a soldering iron. I don't know how to do that. Well, hey, it's really not that hard. So you too can do something like this in your home. Like I said, guys, be very, very careful with these soldering irons. If you were to leave this here and this draped over it, I mean, it would melt the crap out of it. It could start a fire. So be careful with these. Use them in your garage. I have this nice my setup board here that's made out of inch thick marble that isn't going to get hurt by the heat. So I mean, I could lay this thing here all night long and it wouldn't hurt it. Not that I would. I use my holster, but just always be safe with them, guys. And make sure when you do grab it that you know right where you're grabbing it. You don't want to have it hanging out and grab it too close. Even this portion right here is hot. And this thing will bubble your skin off pretty quick, and you'll know it for the next couple weeks afterward that you did it. So Race Wars is coming. Pretty excited. Car's working pretty good. Waiting on some new parts right now from breaking it last time. Is there any other questions out there about what we covered or something I might not have mentioned tonight? Now's the time to throw it out there. No, that's not good either. That's why. Okay. So, I know you said. Oh. No, so if from what I remember, I don't remember reading the thing and seeing anything about a wire change on the ESC. If it specifically states that on there, I'm not in any way, shape, or form in a position to change what's up, Frank? I'm not in any way, shape, or form in a position to change anything. What Steve wrote in that mission statement is just what it is. If he has that in there, I don't know. I'm running this in a drag car, so I'm throwing warranty and caution to the wind. I know I'm going to put massive amounts of voltage through this. I'm going to put massive amounts of timing through this. If I blow this up, this is on me. And part of me running it so hard is changing these wires out. So I don't remember reading that in the warranty information. If he specifically laid that out there, then maybe changing it to the thicker wire, you might want to contact R1 about. And if you don't think it's something that you're doing with the ESC, if you buy one of these ESCs, I'm going to have to talk to Steve more about that, because I change the wires out on all my ESCs, whether it's an XR10 Pro. I know a lot of Tekin guys do. I don't know. I think Tekins don't come with the wires on them. I wish I could buy the R1s. I hope that in the future that is an option. But how that works into the warranty being voided if you change the wires, if that's the case, I don't know. So that's all yet to be discussed. But for right now, biggest thing, if someone can show me that Steve Villanueva, which is what he says is what stands, he's the owner of the company, if this voids your warranty, then yes, this might void your warranty. Like I said, I am throwing caution to the wind by doing this, so I don't want R1 to accept any responsibility for anything that I teach on my shows. This is a huge modification to do to an ESC performance-wise, and if he's... I don't know. So if you're looking to do this mod and you're worried about the warranty, then reach out to Steve Villanueva or R1 Products and see if it voids the warranty. I don't think it will, but by doing this, they know you're using it for drag racing, and then you go out drag racing and you put way too much timing or gearing in it and blow the speed control up. I think the two walk hand in hand. So if you're just using this in a road race car, you wouldn't change the wires out like this, so you wouldn't have to worry about it. Your product would still be under warranty. But if you change the wires out like this, it's because you're going drag racing with it. And that, as far as I'm concerned, from what I read, voids the warranty. These ESCs weren't designed for drag racing, but they work very well if programmed properly. So, question for all. Wait a minute. A lead-free, you want lead in the solder. It makes it more malleable. It makes it a little bit, the more lead you put in it, that's the portion of the metallurgical compound and makeup of the solder that is more susceptible to corroding. Like I said, I think this is 60/40, right? This is a really old roll because it was a big roll. Yeah, a 60/40. Lead tin. And if you looked at this thing under a magnifying glass and you just cut it instead of melting it off, you'll see that the inside of this wire is actually hollow, and that's where they pump it full of the flux. So it has, that's what I mean by it has built-in flux. And as you can see, this is a very fine piece of solder. So, but other than that, what I have left to do to this, like I said, is cut my wires to length, mount it, tune it, put some battery connectors on here, and then I still got to put the fan and stuff on. So this is a lengthy process to get one of these ready for drag racing. For what I do with them. Tell you the truth, if you want to buy an R1 product and you don't want to get into this, you can use one of these right out of the box, and it will work good in a drag car. This is just, in racing, we're always going to go that little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this, of extra edges, hoping that at the end that, 10 little tiny things added up to a win, something that made a win. So that's kind of where this is coming from. Does the speed control need the bigger wires? Not if you're just starting out and it's mildly tuned. You can even lean on it with the thinner wires. Yeah, just get some different. Solder's cheap, guys. Solder's really cheap. What was I saying? I don't remember. But as you can see, this thing is soldered with a flashpack cap pat. Flashpacks. I don't know if that's too bright to see. Turned out really nice. Got nice solder flow. I don't know if I can. See if I can show that. So, that's pretty much what I got for you guys tonight. So, unless there's any other questions, I'm kind of tired. We're gonna have movie night. Little kid's got some homework to do. She rode her 50cc quad for about 6 hours today, and she got off and she's like, "Daddy, my hands are killing me." I'm like, "Yeah, that's part of quad, baby." So she was ripping it up. She had a little friend Roxy, and she were racing in a straight line, and then Roxy would come in to pass her around the paddock, and Emma would close the door on her. It was really, really cool to see her just naturally picking up that racing vibe. So thanks again, guys, for joining along for another show. In the next week, I'll come up with something else that we can put together for tech. And I'd like to get Mark Vine back up here and do like a scale special or something. But for the most part, soldering iron's turned off. Speed control's wired. I figured I got one of these. I had to wire it as a backup for Vegas anyway. I might as well just do it on the show. I hope that there's some kind of soldering tip here that might have helped somebody somewhere out there. And if so, if I could just help one person, solder their speed control or make nice solder joints because they didn't know that their soldering iron had to go past 500 degrees or something like that, or the right kind of solder, or maybe somebody's been taping stuff to a desk to solder it and didn't know about these. This is something that probably goes back to the 50s. I mean, I've seen so many of these over the years, and it's basically got two arms that will hold the joint together for you. And if you want to get down and look at the joint, it has a magnifying glass. When I do any hardboard soldering, really fine stuff with my needle tip soldering iron, my little one, that's when I'll get into this with a lab scope on my face and stuff, so I can really get in there and see the board. Yeah, so the raffle, guys. The raffle closed at 5. I was actually on the freeway on my way home from my mom's ranch. We're still covered in mud. I literally, you can see from here up, and it's clean. We're gonna do the raffle. We're gonna come back live. We could do it right now, but I don't have another unit that will turn on and let me look at how many people are on there, and so forth. So, let's see. You know what? I could pick somebody. So Emma, go get your tablet and turn on the totalizer for the numbers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get this body auctioned off. Hey Judd. So this cap pack, you can reach out to Milo. I just used the 2. I believe they're 10 or maybe 12,000 UF. They're pretty good capacitors. He's always had good capacitors. He just started using these. They're a little bit lighter, and they hold even more. So. Let's get the body out. So, what we are raffling off is a Camry Blem. And you guys, I've sent so many things to so many people in the last couple months. That's why I said, we're going to throw this body out for a raffle. Someone's got to pay shipping. And that's just the way it's got to be. I sink so much into this raffle and into toys for my daughter. And just, I'm trying to buy a house and stuff. And I want to do more of these raffles, but the winners are definitely going to have to pay shipping. So this is a brand new Camry Zero body by Shark RC Bodies. Some think that the cab is a little bit big, but there's a reason for that. That's right over where your tire is. So if you're using a tire that expands, it gives you room in the cab so you don't burn a hole in your body. It was specifically designed like that. So, hold on a minute. Let's see. Bear with me here. Actually, let me do this. Let me turn Let me turn my hotspot on. Okay. Emma, one more thing. Next to the microwave, in between the microwave and the desk right there, is my big black computer bag. Can you bring my computer bag to me?
I never...
So, before we give this away, I got to go onto Facebook, make sure that the last person's numbered. I don't want anybody to get left out. That's what I'm going to use my laptop to do. It's the only other thing I have to get on to get onto the internet. I don't even know what number to put into the totalizer.
Daddy, this is heavy.
I know. Just be careful with it. Come on. You got this, son. You're such a good helper. You know that? At the end of the day, all my stuff could get flooded or it could burn to the ground. And at the end of the day, if I got this little girl, then I'm a very rich man. My daughter's my best friend.
We're going to play Barbies tonight.
We're playing Barbies tonight?
LOLs and Barbies.
Okay, so let me open up my laptop here. It's going to take me a minute to get it going. I got the totalizer on already. Well, that's not supposed to be there. Windows is booting up. Hold on. I forgot all about the fact that I put Facebook on this thing a couple weeks ago. So I do have 2 units that will... I even have my work phone in there, but my work phone has a firewall on it, so I can't have Facebook on it. Emma, paint your dad's fingernails. She does that all the time, buddy. Okay, so let's go to... Uh-oh. Emma, can you come here for a minute? Oh, it's still on there. Okay, never mind.
Oh.
Let's see, I got plenty of battery. It's just slow because I'm tethering off of my phone, guys, so just bear with me here for a minute. Boom. Log in. Cool, I'm in. So let's go to Judd's RC Motorsports. I know that guy's last name. Hey, there's my live view. Let's go down. Here's the ad. I'm gonna close it right now, guys. But I'm gonna give the last couple guys since I've been on the show numbers. 166. Okay, so the last guy here. I'm gonna write this right now. Closed. Closet. What? Okay, so RJ Reinertson is the last one, and he's going to be 167. 167. Okay, so we got as you guys can see, it's zeroed out, and it says 167. 167. So 1 through 167. It is now closed. We're going to go ahead and randomize. 49. 49 is the winner. Let's see who the winner is. This is going to take me a minute to get to. Um, $19. It doesn't even show me the comments on here. 37. So 49 is our winner. $48. Hold on a minute. $49. Fade God Jones. Fade God Jones, you're the winner of the Shark Camry body. So let me go to him right now and message him. I don't know where he lives. You are the winner of the Camry body. Okay, so his name is Fade God Jones. I don't know if his first name is actually Fade or if he's just using an alias. Let's see. We got a lot of guys saying congratulations. That's great, great sportsmanship, guys. Let's see if I can reach out to him. I'm gonna reach out to him after we turn the live feed off. So, Fade God Jones, thank you guys. I got more coming, more raffles. I know that we're almost. My name is DJ. Here we go. He's on right now. Cool. So he's in North Carolina. Reach out to me in about 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll figure this out. And I'm DJ too, so we got a lot of DJs in the house. DJ, you won the Shark Camry body, which sucks that you're in North Carolina because I could have just had Paul, the owner of the company, just ship it right from Wisconsin. But whatever, maybe we'll give this one away and I'll have him ship you another one. Either way, we'll get this coming Monday. This is your Camry. And then it also comes with the sticker sheet. So as far as the spoiler, you're going to have to reach out to Paul at Shark RC Bodies and pick yourself up a spoiler or some Lexan and make yourself one. But he's got a Camry body waiting to be painted up. So I'll get his specifics and we'll get that out to him, and that's awesome. So we're almost to 1,400 people already, guys. Thank you guys so much for the support. When we hit 1,500, there'll be another raffle, and hopefully another raffle before that, either from Shark or maybe some from Flashpacks or something like that. So I'm going to see what I can do. I'm always looking to have manufacturers that back me and sponsor me. Kick stuff down for raffles. I was also, what do you guys think? I'm going to make a post. I'm thinking about maybe even doing more raffles, but it'll be like $5 a head, and then 100% of the profits go to St. Jude's rather than just raffling it off for free, which is cool. I like to do that too, and we can still do that. But I think that, if we're all into this, then we're all doing these toy cars and we have that in life. Then we're probably more or less all doing pretty good. So I think that everybody from now on that maybe would be interested in chipping in $5, put this pot together for the body, raffle it off. The winner gets the body, and then St. Jude's gets all the money. And every time it's like a triple win, because it's a win for the winner, it's a win for St. Jude's, it's a win for Paul getting more bodies out there. I think that might be something cool to look into in the near future. I'd really like to do that for the children. Looks like I'm already getting some positive feedback about it. So Again, I hope you guys like the show. I got a little girl who's just busting my nuts to go play with her. And she's just cute as a button, and I love her to death, so I'm going to go do that. You guys have a wonderful night. I hope you enjoyed the video, and keep on RCing, man.